let's see. You're not. Would you hold on to that for me, please? I'm a mentalist. And one of my first shows, a fella came up to me afterwards, an older gentleman, you know, kind of like this fellow over here. And he said, what does that have to do with being a Methodist? So obviously I had not gotten my point across. And then subsequently upon arriving here, I had a bilingual friend who told me that he'd been looking in the English-Spanish dictionary trying to come up with what exactly is a mentalist and how is that translated. He said the best thing he could find were Spanish words, the English equivalent would be maniac or asylum. So I think I find that somewhat ironic. I had several mentors. Does anybody here remember, this will be a little play on words, does anybody here remember the name Harry Lorraine? Harry Lorraine was a talk show guest toward the end of the century. He was a memory expert. He would meet a room of 100 people and call them all by name almost immediately. I am not a memory expert. If I don't remember your name, don't hold it against me, please. On the other hand, I did try to follow his teachings and also the teachings of a guy by the name of Uri Geller. Is that a name some of you recognize? Okay, well the thing that Uri does, the technique that he has, the skill, is called psychokinesis or telekinesis. Does anybody know what either of those words mean? Somebody's shaking their head back there. I can't hear you if you shake your head. You have to say yes. Do you know what they mean? Okay, move things with your mind. That's exactly right. And I was really intrigued by that. Now, I will tell you that I am not going to move anything with my mind tonight. But I used to try. I practiced it. I got fairly good at it. And I would usually try and do it when I was doing something else. And one time, I was very successful. I went into the kitchen. I was doing some work in the kitchen, and I made an apple turnover. Tough crowd. Okay, so let me introduce a few people to you because I am pleased to have them here, and I don't want to forget, first of all, the group that's doing the video is a company called D, as in David, M as in Maria, T as in Tom, okay? And if you ever need a video production put together, I'm sure they'd be glad to help you with that. We're doing one this evening, and this is especially for an organization, not the charity organization, but rather an organization called PEA, Psychic Entertainers Association. And in order to become a member, you need to submit various videos. And so I thought about this venue, and they said, now keep in mind, not a bunch of friends, you need to be
three ensalada, you want camarón.
To a really tough crowd. And I asked Soleil, and she said, that'll be no problem. So there we have it. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. I actually have a little bit of a hereditary component that goes along with the mentalism. Some of you may be familiar with this concept. I've had a few people who would smile knowingly when I speak about my mom. Back in Fairmont, West Virginia. Not that I expected anybody to know what Fairmont, West Virginia is, but Mom had the gift of what I would call the all-seeing eye. Anybody? I see a few heads nodding and smiles. I could come home late at night. She would meet me with a barrage of questions to which she already knew the answer. You see, Fairmont, West Virginia is a town of about 25,000. It's 90 miles south of Pittsburgh. Oh, one little thing that you might be interested in. How many of you have had to get your background checked and go through the FBI. Well, enough of you. Okay. And you probably at some point thought to yourself, man, those guys in Washington, are they ever going to get done with this so I can get my report? Well, actually, it wasn't people in Washington. It was people in Fairmont, West Virginia. And in case you're wondering about the secrecy in Fairmont, West Virginia, would your secrets ever be exposed, your background ever be revealed? The answer is no. You can set your mind at ease. I tried several times to get them to tell me stuff, and they wouldn't breathe a word to me, so we're left with that. In any case, Fairmont, West Virginia, all-seeing eye. Questions to which she already knew the answer. I'll give you an example. The gossip mill in Fairmont, West Virginia is faster than the gossip mill in the expat community in Cuenca. That's fast. In addition to that gift, my mom also had a wonderful sense of humor, and her favorite joke, ironically, had to do with age and memory. The way it went was, and I'm going to affect a little bit here, just for grins, by telling you there was this old woman and old man in a nursing home. And the old woman said to the old man,
I bet if you was to stand up in the middle of the room and take off all your clothes and turn around, I could tell you how old you are.
The old man thought, well, I don't have anything else going on, so birthday suit, pirouette, finishes with a flourish, and she says,
You are 94. You were born in 1926 in September.
wow, that is absolutely amazing. How do you do that?
You old fool, you told me yesterday.
Okay, so we are going to have a little connection here, and I'll try to give you some encouragement as we go along. The first thing I would ask you about is when you go to the movies, or it could be live theater, or even something like this, when you're not jabbing the waiter in the eye with your thumb. What is it that makes that a really meaningful experience? Not popcorn. Okay, a little deeper than that. I'll give you a clue. Somebody will get this, I'm sure. It's called suspending your disbelief. There you go. Yes, suspending your disbelief. Merriam-Webster defines that as allowing oneself to believe that something is true even though it seems impossible. And so we're going to explore the impossible tonight if my voice holds up. And so here's how we're going to start. We're going to start by practicing a technique, by practicing a technique. Wait a minute, I think I do better back here. Echo. I'll be back here, okay? I'll check with you every once in a while. Okay, here's what I want you to do. We're going to send images back and forth to one another through our mental facilities. The banners on either side, you might have noticed, and the business cards have my name and a lightning bolt because that is symbolic of the electrical charge that pops back and forth between the synapses in our brain. So what I'm going to ask you to do is picture a screen behind me. It's blank right now. I'm going to project an image onto the screen. I'm going to ask you, some people like to close their eyes, others don't, it doesn't matter. I'm going to ask you to try and receive a couple of images that I'm going to send you. I'll tell you when I'm ready to do that. I want to give you just a little aside to begin with by saying that tomatoes are vegetables. Tomatoes are not vegetables. And you're saying, what has that got to do with anything? Bear with me. So there's the screen. It's blank. I'm going to think of something. I'm going to give you a clue. I'll clap, and I'll count to 3 and then clap my hands. So here we go. The image I'm trying to project to you is a vegetable. 1, 2, 3. And there you should have an image. Okay, now let the screen go blank. I'm going to do it again. Only this time, I'm going to project a different image. So if you're ready, the clue is it's a yellow fruit. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, some people got no image. Some got 1. Maybe some got 2. We'll just start by asking how many people received at least one of the 2 images, and the images were a carrot and a banana. How many people saw at least one of those? Okay, most people saw at least one. Let's find out. Anybody see 2? Nobody saw 2. That's okay. Sometimes it is a little more powerful than other times, but like Soleil said, this is a tough crowd. So now what I'm going to ask 3 people to do is to help with something. I transmitted a message to you. I'm now going to ask some of you to transmit the message back to me. And would you help? You don't have to stand. Well, you do have to stand up, but you don't have to come forward. Is that good? Okay. And Linda. No, not you. I'm sorry. That won't work. That's my wife, and you might think we have colluded. Actually, colluding would be fun. But that wasn't what I was thinking about. Okay, so we have you here. Who's good with their hands? They could catch something that was thrown to them at this table. Nobody here at this table. Then back here in the center. Sir, are you Spanish? What's that? In Espanol? I don't know. Somebody else will have to tell me how to say that. If we throw something at him, you think he might catch it just in defense? I don't know. All right, so Vicky, a good friend of mine, will you catch something if he tosses it to you? You can come around here so it's not such a long throw. So we have you, sir. Thank you. What's your name? Jerry. Jerry. That's Vicky. Vicky, that's Jerry. Oh, and you, sir. Would you help us? And what's your name? JJ? JT. Pardon me. JT, Vicky, and Jerry. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I have a deck of cards. You may stand too, please, if you would. And I'm going to toss these to you, Jerry. And I did this recently at Common Ground, and somebody in the audience said, "Oh my God, how's he going to catch all those?" There's a rubber band. Okay, it's okay, no problem. I saw Vicky thinking, "Oh boy, I'll never be able to catch all those cards." Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of information before I start, and the information that I wanted to give you has to do with the number of different arrangements of cards in a deck of 52. Now we know one arrangement, and that's when they're sorted into the 4 suits. You open the box and you take that out. Here's how many additional arrangements there are. The total of 52 cards in their various arrangements is 4, followed by 69 zeros. That's almost an infinite number. So the chances of anybody ever having seen this arrangement before is highly unlikely. The chance of anybody ever seeing the arrangement again is even more unlikely. So we're going to rubber band these. They're so old I've actually got marks on the front of them, but that's okay. What I want you to do is to receive it so that you put it face down in your hand, you turn it so that the rubber bands are to me. That'll allow you to reach in there and look at a card. Okay, and then I'll ask you to pass that on to Vicky. So here we go. Ready? And I'll call cadence. There you go. Face down, rubber bands toward me. Look at one card and pass it on to Vicky. Just one. Pull it up, look, and now toss it to Vicky. Vicky. Okay. I'm glad they have rubber bands. Okay, so there you go. Face down, rubber bands toward me with your thumb. Lift up at one of the cards. Peek at it back to me. Okay. Oh, no, not me. Him. JT. Here you come, JT. Whoa! Hey, the light's hard in here. I get it. Okay, rubber bands toward me, face down. Look at one card. Okay. All right. And that's the end of that. You all may be seated. No, you can't be seated yet. I just remembered what's supposed to happen next. Okay. I want you to concentrate on the card. I want you to project that image onto the screen, the one that I talked about before. So you each have your own mental screen and image. If it was a red card, I want you to think of something hot, like Seattle. Never thought I'd say that. Okay. If it's a black card, think of something cold, like coat of epoxy. Okay? So you're thinking of something hot, something cold, something red, something black. All right, I'm going to name the impressions I'm getting. If I name your card, please sit down. Eight of Hearts, King of Diamonds, Queen of Spades. Not you? Okay. Well, see, that's how I find who's going to help me with the next experiment. So, JT, you sure you don't want to change your mind? No, he said, that's okay. I'm good. All right, JT, come up here and be seated. We can get rid of these cards just a while. And you have the envelope that I gave you Soledad yesterday. Okay? Inside, go ahead and tear it open. Inside that envelope is another envelope. And inside that envelope is something else. And I'll tell you about that if you'll hold the small one for a minute. There's a thing that was identified by Carl Jung. Is that a name you all recognize? Okay, so Carl Jung spoke about synchronicity or meaningful coincidence. I see people nodding. You all are obviously a lot smarter than I am because I just learned about that a few minutes ago when I was scribbling some notes down. So synchronicity, meaningful coincidence. No, I actually did learn something about it a month or so ago. And I was, hello? Nothing. Oh, no, this mic is not for you. I'm sorry. It's only for the camera back there. But I'll try and keep everybody posted on what's going on. So meaningful coincidence. Have you ever awakened in the morning and had a word or a song or something kind of running through your brain? And it just kind of chases you around throughout the day? That would be a meaningful coincidence if you knew what it was connected to. And that's what Carl Jung encouraged people to do, was pay attention to those little moments and find those meaningful coincidences. And so, I started doing that. And this effect is called Cuenca taxi. I'm in the taxi and I get a message, an impression. It might be a name, it might be a song, all kinds of different things. And I started trying to capture those. And in this envelope, there are two things that I captured some days ago. And I'll ask you now, if you'll open it, you'll find two pieces of paper, because there were two things. If you'll look, one of the pieces of paper has what you might call alphabet soup, a lot of letters on it. Letters or numbers? Letters or numbers? Tell him whether those are letters or numbers. Say it again. Numbers, put it away. That's for something, I don't even know what that's for. I do know what that's for. Open it up, make sure there's some alphabet soup there. JT, if you would, let me give you something to do while you're sitting there. You've been very patient. You know how to shuffle cards? Okay, we'll then shuffle those for a while. Now, if I have a woman helping me with this, I usually hold her hand. I hope you don't mind if I abstain. Okay, so you have the alphabet soup? All right. Well, I know what these are. And if I can read them, we're going to see what happens with a message that I received 3 or 4 days ago. Okay? So whenever you are satisfied that you've done a marvelous job, then we are going to start. And if you would, let me move these out of the way. Just spread the cards all over that mat. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to send an image on the, oh, that's okay. I'm glad you knocked that over because that reminds me. I need someone to be our scribe. You look scribish, or whatever that word is. And if you would, I'm going to start telling him about some cards. And if you would put just the same old alphabet soup that I'm looking at. This would be like, what would, Queen of Hearts, what would you put if you just wanted the first letter of the name and the soup? It would be the QH. Got it. Okay. No, that's very important. All right, JT. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to think about the card. I'm going to ask you to reach out and touch the card, except I don't really have to think. All I have to do is look at this. 2 of clubs. 2 of clubs. That would be like 2C or TC if you prefer. Okay? And just touch, yes. Anyone that you think is right, don't. Lift it up off the table. Now set it over here, out of the way for now. All right? Now let me see what else is on this piece of paper. Move your hand. Thank you very much. Otherwise, how can I possibly tell whether you've already succeeded or whether I need to get you to go a little deeper and look for... That was the 2 of clubs. Let's do the 6 of clubs. 6 of clubs. Sliding it out very surreptitiously and placing it right there. And did you get that one written down as well? And oh, and here we have 3 cards. Oh yes. Okay, that's fine. And now the 8 of clubs. And this doesn't always work all the time. So if you need to take a break, we'll get back to you. Okay. And now, one last one, and if you could see this, you would understand my difficulty, but that's why it's called a Cuenca taxi. Just try and write something on a little piece of paper when you're in the back of a Cuenca taxi racing around in this city. I'm going to see if I can figure out which one is the King of Hearts. Okay, so this one is up to me. And, oh, you want that one? No. Is that the one you want? You sure? Yep. Okay. I'm not so sure about it. Not so sure. Okay. Let's see how we did. If you would, tell us what the cards were, just one at a time, and let's see. I know that this is not perfect, but this is nonetheless a step in the direction of passing information back and forth through that mental screen. So if you would. The 2 of clubs. No 2 of clubs. Okay. 6 of clubs. Yes. 6 of clubs. We have a winner. Okay. Just in case anybody's wondering if JT and I got together on this, that's the 6 of clubs. What else do we have? The 8 of clubs. Oh, there's another winner, 8 of clubs. Okay, isn't he marvelous? How did he do that? You must be asking yourself. And the King of Hearts. And the King of Hearts, 3 out of 4. Way to go. Nice going. I think he's willing to just stay here, hoping. Hey, you know, what else you want me to do? Okay, you may go back and get your dinner. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. So now, with all these demonstrations that have gone on, I've got to talk to you very seriously about a group of people that are here. I know who you are. It used to be, before COVID, you couldn't tell who was a skeptic. Because, I mean, you could tell because they wore masks. They were the only ones that did. The skeptics were always trying to hide their identity from people. Now everybody's got masks, so it's harder to identify a skeptic, although I would say to you, I know who you are. All right. But what's more important is you need to know who each other is. Each other are, whichever. So, boldly, please, no shyness here. You're safe in this room. Now, what happens outside? Okay, anyway, raise your hand if you are a skeptic.
Of anything?
Of anything, sure, yes, just a plain old everyday skeptic. Okay? We have 4 of them gathered together here. See, that happens a lot. They kind of, it's just the way it works. So here's what I'm thinking. Put your hands back up just another minute if you don't mind. Skeptics, please. Okay. The reason for that is because I want you all to look at each other, notice who you are, so that later you can get together, have coffee, exchange emails, start a club, Skeptics Anonymous, or something like that. So, I need one member of that group to represent the group. And this fellow over here, although he says he's a skeptic and his arms are crossed, go figure. Okay? Oh, he's cold. Skeptics always say that. You say, your arms are crossed. Oh, yeah, I'm cold. Okay, whatever. So would you step right up here, sir, as a representative of this illustrious group? All right, that's good. Don't get too close. Okay. Now, no, really. Maybe one more step this way. One more step. That's the trap door. Okay, we're good. All right. So, as a skeptic, I know that you. Here it is.
Por las luces,
You
¿no?
like to
Está ahí el
check
micrófono.
things out,
No se puede.
right? Really give them a good look over. Here's what I want you to do. Take this envelope. Hold it up to one of the lights. That's pretty bright over there. Can you see through it? Can you see that there's something in there? There's something, but he's not sure what. Okay, and there's a good reason for that. There's actually a business card in there. But, if I may, the business card is inside an envelope. Okay, so now we have 2 envelopes, which would make it very difficult to see the business card. Certainly, if you were trying to see what's written on it, that would be difficult. Here's what I want you to do. Take this, hold it for a minute, and somewhere I have a pen. I have the hardest time keeping track of the pen. But it's important that you have this pen. Because it's a magic pen, yes, of course. It's going to send messages to my Google Copper RA bracelet, and I'll be able to see what's going on. All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to step over here. I want you to think of a word. What is your name, by the way? Carson. Carson. Nice hand for Carson. How about it? Okay. I want you to think of the word, Carson. Now, a simple word, but not too simple or popular. Like cat or dog is a little too simple and popular. Some word that's maybe 5 or 6 letters. Do you have one in mind? Yes. Did he say not yet? Maybe we should start with just 4 letters. All right, we'll work up. Okay. Carson, you have a word in mind? Okay. So here's the rest of the assignment. Turn the card so that it is facing, so that the back of the card is facing you. The reason is I'm about to ask him to write his word on that card. And the front of the card, those of you that have my card out here on the table know that it's black. And we will never be able to prove to you what he wrote down because you won't be able to see it later on. So turn the card over So you're looking at the back of it. You have the word. Okay, Carson, I'd like you to print very legibly, for the benefit of the people at the back of the house, this word that you have in mind. Okay? Are you done? And you are now. Okay, I'm going to turn around, meaning I'm going to be looking at you. I'm going to turn around. When I do, make sure that I can't see the card. I did this one time. I failed to tell people, make sure that I won't be able to see the card, and the person is standing there holding it like this, which means that I went from mind reading to reading. Okay, so you have the card. All right. Now, you would put it face up so that the writing is face down, obviously. Right there in that envelope. Drive it all the way home. Okay. Now, that's okay. You can stay right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. And, I need you to lick it. Oh, no, that's okay. All right, I spare no expense. Okay, here you go. You have that. I'll take this back. Now I want you to, now I need to use this board. Okay. I want you to think of, Carson, the first letter in your word. Okay? Now, you and I did not work this out in advance. This is not some kind of a trick of rolling, right? Well, no, obviously not enough. Okay, so think of the first letter. Got it. Think of the first letter. Are you thinking? Yeah. Oh, okay. It's hard. All right. All right. Please, if you would, tell everybody what the first letter is. P. P. Is that pretty close? P. 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 Or P. P. Oh. All right. Now. Sometimes I actually do better with a little personal contact. So would you extend your hand so that I can get to the wrist? This is ironic. It's like I'm getting no signal at all, or it's conflicting. It's kind of like I'm just going to write here. And you can tell me if I got close or not. Would you tell us the word again? Say it loudly. Pulse. Okay, now before we do anything more, hang on. You are a skeptic, right? Used to be. I love that. That's a segue into what I was about to say, which is, if I get this right, I need you all to applaud uproariously. When I did the letter P, it was kind of like, oh, that's so good. So a little less muy tranquilo. Get with it, guys. All right. No, wait, not yet. Okay.
Was that good? Was that good?
That was good, though. I'd say that. All right. So, and the rest of it. If I get it right, and if you, this will be applause for you, you understand. You're sending a message. All I'm doing is receiving a message. If I get it right, this applause will be for you. Step off of the trap door, step right here, throw your hands in the air and say, I believe. So, what do you think? What's the word? Pulse. Pulse. I believe. And there he goes. Step forward, throw both hands in the air. I believe. All right. He's a little bit scared. Thank you. We converted one here tonight. I'd say that's pretty good. But I will say something in light of him commenting on things being scary. Sometimes during these demonstrations, people do get a little anxious. I made a mistake when I first started doing this. I stepped out and my introduction was, I am going to reach into the dark recesses of your mind. I'm going to explore the things that you prefer no one ever know. In about 5 minutes, everybody was gone, and I was able to close up and go home early that night. So, do not be afraid, Carson, because remember the thing about the screen? The only way this works is if you give me permission to look inside your mind. And if you are willing to be of like mind when it comes to trying to figure out what's on my mind, like the carrot and the banana. Okay, so one last thing, and then we will take a much needed and well-deserved break, and I might even have a voice enough. I don't know what time y'all are expecting to be finished tonight. I like to exceed expectations. So if you're thinking 8 o'clock, we'll have no problem. I will exceed those expectations. It'll be about, oh, you're ahead of me, aren't you? It'll be about 9:15 by the time we get finished. All right, so you still have something. And it's a number. No, don't take it out yet. Hold on to it for just a few more minutes. I need someone who has a good math background, a math skill. And I'll borrow this marker. Who back there at that table keeps hiding? Oh, can you really not? I am so sorry. Ben, I will tell you that so far it's been a wonderful show. But in deference to you, I think one of you needs to come forward. And we'll work from right in here. How about this, right here?
I'm the come forward person.
Oh, you're the come forward person, yes. Okay, how about a nice hand forward? What's your name? Martha. Marcia.
Yes, there you go.
Marcia, not Martha. Okay, for those of you that are trying to figure out what she said, it's Marcia. Come on, pay attention. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to draw 4 lines. Actually 5. Okay? And I'll give this to you. And I want people who would volunteer, you don't even have to stand, just name a 2-digit number. Sit right there in your seat, safely, and yes, ma'am. 12. Okay? How about somebody, there's a young fellow over there. And he said 55, and now what do we have? 62. Okay, and what's this one? 27. You go ahead and add those up. Don't let me go wrong. That's okay. We're going to get all these people to help you here in a minute. So the number is, that should be a 1, I think. Huh?
I got it.
What is the number?
Total?
Yes.
150.
156. Okay.
You're looking it up.
Well, yes, I am.
Okay.
I think it's right. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. Who said 12? Over here. All right. And that's accurate. Okay. What's the next one? 55. And that's there.
62.
62. And 27. And the number is? The total, 156. Would you step right up to the front a minute here? And can I have that piece of paper that I gave you? And the little, yes, the one that's inside there. Now, what I'd like you to do is to see. Well, remember, this was in the back of a taxi. That's why it's called the Cuenca taxi. But if you would see, can you make out? Isn't that a 1?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much a 5.
It is.
And would you say the last one is a 6?
Yeah. Really?
Thank you very much. Time for a break. if there's a break to be taken, take one. And we will begin again in about 10 minutes. And my apologies to the people in the back of the room. I'm going to work from that end on the next part of the show, or at least somewhere closer. How's that? Thank you all. Very good. Oh, Marcia. Here you go. And so, on your table, you see an envelope. When you get a chance, and I have heard this expression, give until it hurts. And I would suggest to you that can be pretty easy. I put $5 in, it hurt like hell. Okay, so maybe you should give until it quits hurting. I don't know how much that is, to each his own. In case you're wondering what amount of that I get, the answer is 0. This is my way of paying it forward, or giving back, or whatever you want to call it. Soleil runs wherever she is, runs a wonderful charity from here called Help Me to Help. I could go into all of the things that they have done, plan on doing, but then I really would exceed your expectations, and it probably would be 9 o'clock or later before we finish. So, try to familiarize yourself with her wonderful charities. Now, I don't know where anybody's from, but back in Fairmont, West Virginia, we got the newspaper on Sunday, and it had colored cartoons on it. Okay? Did you get that? Did you have a Sunday paper and it had color cartoons? I always call them funny papers or comic strips. Okay? You might be thinking, gosh, it's a shame that there isn't something like that here in Cuenca. I feel like I'm doing it. Anyway, I actually went looking in El Mercurio for some humor, and I found it. And of course I will share it with you. Who asked? Yes, by all means. Okay, so here we go. The first one, the personal interest column. Invisible man and invisible woman married. No one knew what they saw in each other. I have a prediction. Their kids will be nothing to look at. Okay, moving on. There's a magician. I do sleight of mind. There is a magician in Cuenca who does sleight of hand. His name is Magoo. Magoo. He was performing one time, and he announced, I am going to disappear on the count of 3. Uno. Dos. Poof. He was gone. Without a trace. Okay. If you go to the zoo, oh, come on, Carson. I should be ashamed of myself. Oh, I am. If you go to the zoo, I saw this exhibit, and the word, I couldn't quite make sense out of it. I know that G, the letter G, like Guayaquil, you have to swallow the letter to make it come out or something. Anyway, there was this sign, and there was this cage, and the sign said, Bajuete. And so I chased down the guy that works at the zoo. I said, what is Bajuete? He said, it's not Bajuete, it's baguette. And in case you're wondering, what's that got to do with anything? That's bred in captivity. Okay. So, if you go to the zoo and you miss the bayete, you might want to keep an eye out for the rabbits, because there was a picture taken, there's an article written in El Mercurio about it, and there were these rabbits doing, I can't do it, doing a moonwalk. And in case you're wondering what's that got to do with anything, receding hairline. Okay, next. A classified, it's a time joke. Yeah, when you get home tonight, about 3 in the morning, you'll wake up just laugh your ass off. Okay, classifieds. International Sarcasm Society. Footnote, like we need your support. Okay. Cuenca, Ecuador. Archaeology party at Pumapungo. The archaeology class at the University of Cuenca was there for a gathering. It was kind of a party, but they were also digging around. They were looking for a leg bone. It was reported that it was a real shindig. Okay, next. This actually comes from Cuenca High Life, so I just wrote it on here because I found this to be pretty funny. But then I have that kind of sense of humor, I suppose. The article said, brothels to open. Do you remember the rest of the article? It went on to say, seriously, but without social distancing. Okay, I'm telling you, it's there. And you may think to yourself, well, he's done with that. Well, close, but not quite. I have a few articles here that I'm going to ask your help with. And I'll tell you what they say as best I can. This one says, who's good with Spanish here? Someone? Reforma a la ley de tránsito, ley da una nueva competencia. Something about checking the competency of some of the transit drivers. I think that's the gist. Okay, so there's that one. This one says, UCI in the province doesn't have patients waiting anymore. The morbidity and mortality has gone down. All right, so that's good news. Maybe not funny news, but good news. And then this one says they just completed the socialization of 2 places that I'm not familiar with. One is called the PDOT, and the other one is the PUGS. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to move out into the audience, and I'll demonstrate this. I'm coming out there with a pair of scissors and one of those columns and that bowl. I'm going to ask you to hold the bowl, and then I'm going to move the scissors up and down. Well, actually, I'm only going to be moving them down. I'm going to move the scissors down until you say cut, and when you do, I will cut. And we will take that, and we will see what the words are on the top of this. It could be 3 or 4 lines above, 3 or 4 lines below. You make the decision as to where you want me to cut. So we have tens of thousands of words in a newspaper. We're limiting it down a little bit here and a little bit there. And I used to have people, I would hold the column and they would cut. And then I said to myself, I'm a wizard, but I could end up being just a little whiz. So now I do the cutting. All right, so hope you don't mind. All right. So I'm going to, let's work right. So here is the article. I scribbled on the back to indicate what we're not going to be doing. We're not looking at this side. We're looking at the other side. I'm going to move down the article. You tell me when to cut. Good. Okay, here we go. All right, right now it's and I hope I can fly. Would you pick that up? We can get rid of this. We can pick that and crumple. We're going to have a little random selection. We had a random selection of columns, and we had a random selection of places to cut. I'm sorry. Maybe all the help in Sumana. Gracias. Okay, so we should drop there. Okay. And let's go all the way to the back because they got left out first. Bear with me.
Panacota. Mousse. Mousse de chocolate. I don't know.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this table, he's got
So now we've got two random selections out of the newspaper. Two little balls of paper.
I know.
Okay,
Where'd you get
coming back. Let's see, where we're going to go now. Oh, that's all the skeptics over there. No, I know when I've met my match. How about you?
Thank you.
All right, I'll put this here. I will move this down the column. You tell me when to stop cut. And if you'll take that one, roll it up, I can get rid of this. So we had some various random selections. Now we have 3 different columns. We cut each of those, so we don't know exactly where we are in each one of those columns. Crumple it up into a ball. Yes, please, thank you. Now this is again one of those things where you are going to send an image to the screen that I'm going to try and receive. Put it right in there. So this is about as random as I could get. And so would you take any one of those balls and open it up, and if you see that it has a squiggle on it, then turn it over to where the squiggle is not so bright, because I just had to eliminate some of those, so I eliminated the back side, leaving you with the front side. Okay? Now, there it is. Will you think about the words on that column and project the words? Say it again. Oh.
Can you read it?
Well, he did. I don't know. He was having trouble with the alphabet soup the last time, but maybe he can do this. We'll see. All right. Now, I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to think about the words that are on that column. All right? And, okay, first word. Okay, I got it. And second word? You thinking about the word? Okay. And say the third, fourth, and fifth words. We'll do this. I'm running out of room here. That's why we have to stop. Okay. And what is your name, sir? Carl. Carl. Ah. Pardon me. Okay, I've got some stuff here. I don't know. We'll see. Would you name the first word? Los. Los. What's the second word? Encuentros. I don't see that. No. The first word would be the one at the top.
Oh, I thought you were
No. This isn't one of those things where you can just do any damn thing you want to. Why bother cutting it if you were going to decide where you wanted to read? So let's try it again from the top. I'm trying to audition for the PEA here. But again, they did say, not a friendly audience. We need to see you in front of a tough crowd. Try it again, Carl. L. Okay. Municipio. Oh, man, I can't spell. Go ahead. Keep going. De Cuenca. Well, we didn't get it all. We got close. All I could come up with was the newspaper kept flashing in my mind. So I have El Mercurio de Cuenca Informo. Thank you all. All right. We are winding down. But there's still food on your plates, so I take that as a good sign that you're not sitting there going, when are you going to finish talking? All right. So, in fact, order dessert if you haven't already. And if you have, get some more. Okay, I need somebody who would be considered pretty literate and also bilingual if possible, but not necessarily. This lady right here, would you be so kind as to help me? Okay. We're going to move these chairs up a little bit so that we can be a little closer to the back of the room.
Who is that?
And your name is?
Candace.
Candace?
Mhm.
My name's Wes. Have a
Thank
seat.
you, Wes.
Thank you very much. I'll be right with you, Candace.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to start out by telling you a little bit of a story. There was a fella who went to a bookstore, I think it was Catalina bookstore, and bought a thesaurus. And when he got home, he found out that all the pages were blank. He did not have words to express his disappointment. Nor did I when I got Asimov's book, only to realize when I got it home it's in Spanish. And I don't know about you, but I have a hard enough time with Asimov's English, let alone Asimov in Spanish. However, with these oxen we plow. So Candace, we're not going to go to the very last page, but we'll get close to it. What would you say is that number?
787.
787. So the book has 800 or so pages. Now, I'm going to turn these quietly. Would you say that the pages look different, that we don't have 787 pages with the same words on each one?
Correct.
Okay, good. Just in case you were thinking, oh, all the pages in that book are the same. All right, so now here's what I want you to do. I'm going to flip through here again, and I want you to tell me when to stop. Okay, so I'm flipping and she's telling, right there. Okay, whoa, I didn't even get started yet. No problem. I have two envelopes here. Candace, I'm going to ask you to take this one. Would you mind standing? No, there you go. Sit right down. We'll keep that there for safekeeping. All right, so let's find out what page you stopped me at. And there will be a word on the page that should jump out at you. Okay? So let's first work on the page number. What's the page number at the bottom? Can you see?
443.
443. Somebody remember that? And the word? Encontrar. Got it? 443, encontrar. Now, the thing I failed to mention when I started was that Candace is going to experience something that she will swear is as real to her as you are out there. Okay? I have to give Candace a little test first, so bear with me. Candace, has the phone ever rung and you knew who it was before you answered?
Yes.
That's called caller ID. That's not Mentalist. Okay, so something a little harder. Candace, have you ever experienced deja vu? Candace, have you ever experienced deja vu? Yes. Ah, there we go. All right. So, I was supposed to ask you to do something, but you can still do it. Would you take that piece of paper out of the envelope? Yeah, it's a little sticky. Just pull until it comes loose. Yeah, it is sticky. All right. Now, there's 3 things that were written there. This is a prediction, by the way, something that I set up a couple of days ago. So would you open this, and I'll repeat it because you have such a soft little voice. We want everybody to hear this. So what does number 1 say?
Your page will be 443.
Your page will be 443. Now, what's the next one?
Your word will be in contrast.
Your word will be in contrar. And lastly,
The crowd will go wild.
the crowd will go wild. And that, Candace, I couldn't have done that without you.
Thank you.
All right, now I have a question to ask. Going back to something I said earlier, that you would swear you had seen something that did not exist. So let me ask you, do you really think that you saw page 443?
Yes.
Do you really? What if I said you didn't? That's okay. Do you really think you saw the word in contrast?
I do.
What if I told you you didn't?
That's sad.
That would be sad. I don't know how to tell you this, but this may be a little bit sad for you. Anyway, open the book to page 443. We're working on it. Bear with us. 443. Whoops, that's okay. In fact, let me get rid of that on. Oh! Yeah, let me I'll help. Yeah, she said that is the remnant of page 443. Oh, she got to the punchline ahead of me. Stand up, Candace. Open the envelope. Let's see if you've got something there that might help fill in the gap. All right, there you go. A nice hand for Candace. Okay, thank you very much. And we will have just a moment, and then we will fire up again. This is just going to take me a couple of moments. I don't have a road crew, so I have to do all this. All right.
I know. That was amazing.
Uh-oh. And there we go. Do that in a minute.
I know. I've got two left.
All right. Now, I need 3 people who are not shy because you are going to have to come to the front. Here's one. Here's one. You got to start with somebody. Thank you. Thank you, please. And if you will take this chair right here. Still need 2 more volunteers. Stacia, this is my sister-in-law from Houston, Texas. Thank you. Usually I say, have we ever met before? But I knew she wouldn't play along with me, so I figured I might as well not even bother. Jeez, what a spoiled sport. We need 1 more person. There's 2 women. Do we need a man over
Call
here?
Jeff.
Huh?
Call Jeff. Call Jeff.
Call Jeff? Jeff!
Jeff.
I'm calling Jeff. They said to call Jeff. He's looking around. There's a guy back there looking around trying to find Jeff. Come on down. Jeff, 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 Jeff. Okay. You will have a seat right over there. Oh. All righty. So this is a rather interesting thing. You'll see for yourself. I find it kind of interesting. Let me see. Let me give a little more room here. You'll understand why in a moment. You stand up. And now sit down. Back down. Of course, these. No, you all are fine. You'll see why in a second that's so important. Here's what I want you to do. When I tell you to, I want you to close your eyes. And then I just want you to listen to what I have to say to you. And then in a moment, I'll ask you to open. I'll ask you to open your eyes.
Better.
Better?
Yes,
Better.
Well, it's a good thing the show's about over. All right. I can't do that when I get up close to them. Okay. So, if you all would, I promise not to scare you when I speak. Close your eyes. All right? And I'll just be, whoa, hey there, you want to dance? Moving around here a little bit. I want to make sure everybody's eyes are closed. All right. Don't open your eyes. If you felt me tap you on the shoulder or the back, you are number 1. Here's my instruction for you. I want you to think of a design, a geometric shape. I want you to keep in mind my artistic talent is not very good. So a star or a heart would be a complicated shape, something more like a square, only not a square, but something simple, some simple geometric design. All right? That's my instruction for number 1. Now, we need some more players. Now, if you felt me touch your shoulder now, you're number 2. And number 2, I want you to think of a name, a familiar name. It could be a name that's in business, a neighbor, a family member. All right? So number 2, think of a name. Now, we still have just a little more business to take care of. And if you felt me touch you that time, then you would be number 3. And what I'll ask you to do is to think of a year that's meaningful to you. And it could be when you were, when your parole finally was over. I don't know. I mean, something that would be meaningful. All right, so now, stand up and you can open your eyes. And I'm going to ask you, if you listened only to, I think you fell asleep. You can stand up too.
I was taking a nap.
Never a straight man. Okay, so you should only have listened to the sound of my voice, paid no attention to any instructions anyone else was given. Okay? So I'm going to need you to put your palm in the air. Palm up, palm up, palm up. Okay, good, good. Okay. This is interesting. Normally, the thing that is the easiest is the one that is the most difficult. The shapes are usually very easy. I ask them to look and think of 2 shapes, but I'm not getting a good signal about that. So I'm going to call it a success if I get at least 1 right. So now you each had various instructions. Now I will ask you, please, to keep in mind a triangle and a circle. The name is Jeremy, and the year is 1971. If I named your assignment, please sit down. Somehow I knew that was going to happen. Thank you. You can be seated anyway. A lot of people think, boy, all this electronic mentalism stuff. I mean, you can tell because they never make a mistake. That's my out. All right, so now let's see if we dare go a step further. Close your eyes again. We're going to try this anyway. I'm going to get somebody to help me. They don't even know, but I've been watching their response throughout the evening, and I really think that it's you who's going to end up helping me by reading their minds. Okay, once again, if you close your eyes. Number one, I want you to think of a red balloon. Number two, I want you to think of a place in the world, a city in the world. And number three, I want you to think of a number between 1 and 10, not 7. Everybody says 7. Okay? Do you understand your assignments? You can just nod if you do. I'm especially watching to see if Jeff nods. Okay? We're nods off. We're just not sure what's going to be happening here. All right. So now, your name is Eden, right?
Yes.
Okay. I bet you're wondering how I knew that.
Yes. Didn't I tell you?
You did tell me. Never catch a break. Okay, Eden. I want you to picture floating through the air and landing, floating over a city. Okay? Picture the city, the name of the city, just don't say anything yet. And at that point, the balloon bursts into some number of pieces between 1 and 10, not 7. Okay? You got it?
Yeah.
Would you all stand up again, please? You can open your eyes. And the images that she's getting, of course, we have a red balloon, and then the city that the balloon floated over is Athens, and the number of pieces, 4. If you heard red balloon, Athens, and 4, if one of those is your assignment, you may return to your seats. Go right ahead. Well, okay. Well, you make a lovely couple. I'm sorry we can't go in your seats. So thank you. There you go. Now I do have one last thing, and this is absolutely my favorite bit of business. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your help. I mentioned synchronicity earlier. So, meaningful coincidence. I don't necessarily have to have a couple, though I would prefer that, and you do not need to come forward. Okay? So is there a couple that would like to help? And again, don't need to come forward. And I'll just pick 2 people that are side by side for lack of a better approach. And as much as I hate to look to skeptics, you guys have been so supportive all evening, I think it's only right that I should. So Carson and whomever this is, Kathy. Carson and Kathy are going to help with this. And here's what we're going to do. Kathy, I'm going to ask you to think of a famous person. Famous person. It could be a celebrity. It could be somebody out of history. It could be living, dead, even fictitious. As long as it's a name that when we see it written, we will be able, or printed actually, we'll be able to say, oh yeah, I see that. Okay? So think about a name. Carson. I'm going to get you back up in the air. The red balloon thing didn't quite make it. We're going to try something else. Picture Universal Pictures opening credits. The globe is spinning. You're out here in space looking at the globe, and you begin to zoom in as it begins to slow down. And now you find yourself looking at a place. And this place could be man-made or natural. It could be a bridge, a statue, or a natural river, lake, ocean. Okay? So both of you have something in mind. I'm going to give you piece of paper, and I'm going to give you a pen also. I'm going to let you decide. Tell me your name again. Kathy. Thank you. I'm going to let you decide, Kathy, which of those you want to keep and which you want to give to Carson. Now, I'm going to ask you all, please, try not to think of the name of somebody famous or of a place in the world, because then there's too much chatter and it's hard to keep track of. So if you must think of something else. All right, so we have Kathy, and then I would ask Kathy, there you are, and Carson, there you are. I would ask you to not let each other know what you're writing. And members of the immediate audience, don't look on there so that they can have some privacy. And we will have a name and a place. And tell me when you're finished. Take your time. Okay. Are we done? Would you close them up so that they still look identical? You'll see why in a minute. All right, Kathy, I'm going to ask you to take Carson's from him. I'm going to ask you to put both of them behind your back, shuffle them, so to speak, so you don't even know which is which. We do know that there's a name of a person and the name of a place, but we really don't know which is which as yet, correct? We're going to select, or she is going to select a target. The target is the piece of paper that she continues to hold, and she's going to give me the other piece of paper. When she does, it's out of play, it's eliminated, it's no longer in consideration. So, do you have, this is, so you are holding the target in your right hand, and I'm taking this one, and as I said, I am going to eliminate it. Now, we may be burning a person. We may be burning a person. We may be burning a place. Right now, I'm burning my fingers. Get rid of that. All right, now I'll need you to help me if you will come. I said you can stay there, but you're really going to have to come. And you have the target in your hand. Okay. Just hold it up and let me kind of get a. I'm getting an image, and I don't know. It's wavy lines. I'm seeing columns, maybe, or trees, aspen trees, possibly. Right? I just don't know. But in any case, let me write down what I'm getting here. Oh, no, here's one. I've got it. That's good. So, let me write down an image on this piece of paper. Think thoroughly about it. Okay. Oh, no, I don't think that's it. I know you don't know what it is. I don't know what it. Well, you think about your person. You think about your place. Okay. Okay. Oh wow, I don't know. I just don't know. It's Jerry, is it? Would you stick out your hand palm up? You'll be our judge. You'll put this here and put your hand over it. Okay, and now I'll take this. Let's see. I don't know whether I don't know if the target is a person or a place, but we're about to find out. Okay. Well, what I'm seeing is Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk? Would you see if we have that there as the prediction that I wrote? Jerry, please. Jonas Salk. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. one last bit of business to take care of. Because over there, I hate it when skeptics are involved in this. I'll tell you why. I'm sorry, I really have to change my ways. See, if I say, well, Carson, this is the place. Skeptics are sometimes known to go, no, that's not it. No, it's something else. But I'm going to rely on you to tell me the truth here. And I'll tell you what I think. I'm getting the idea that this is a person rather than a place. Did you write possibly somebody's name as part of the place? You didn't. Wow. Then again, I may not be clicking on all cylinders. I'm just at a loss. I can't, would you mind saying what it is you did right? Bellagio what? Bellagio Casino. Well, I'm close. Abe Lincoln's birthplace. Thank you very much. Good night. Whoa. Hold on. Skeptics sometimes do step forward whenever the person is on the spot and they kind of help ease the pain a little bit. What did you just say?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. You wrote a name and a place. I'm going to have to work on my instructions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have enjoyed sharing my thoughts and receiving thoughts from you, and great thoughts as you go out. Good night.